I mean, you experience it, right? You experience the pain in your mind.
I know, but is my finger if my finger gets cut, I cut my mind by your logic.
You deny that if I hit you in the head with a baseball bat, I can affect your mind?
Yeah. So.
Oh, here you should call yourself edgity. You're always coming in here with the edgy shit to say.
It's not edgy at all. It's just reality. You're sitting here reductioing this to some stupid fucking thing about his finger when you know exactly what he's talking about. Your mind is an emergent thing from your brain.
I guess somebody had to get angry to spice this up. Okay, so what's your problem, Effigy?
Wait, I'm not done yet.
I'm kind of done with you. What's going on, Effigy? No, it's just a dumb argument. I don't know how to conceding.
It's not a dumb argument. You're just being dumb about it.
Okay,
it's not a dumb argument.
So he's saying my point is, cut my finger, I cut my mind. That's what his logical.
No, that's not what he's saying at all.
He said the mind is equal to the whole body. So yes, it is what he said.
Like in a holistic sense, yeah.
Yeah, so yes, the mind is identical to the body. That's what you said. So if a finger's a part of my body and I cut my finger, then I cut my mind by your logic. I don't see how you can't follow this.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, no, you are, because you're saying that. First of all, do you think the mind is material or immaterial?
It's material.
Okay, then you disagree with me. I think the mind is immaterial.
I'm not disagreeing with the way that you are describing.
So you're saying that if I cut my finger, I cut my mind.
Yeah.
I think that's dumb.
Up and nerd these motherfuckers, Corinth.
From that point of view, you could be
I didn't know KO said that is kind of dumb, KO.
More of it is concentrated in the brain.
Everyone versus Eli right now. I'm not gonna jump on the
Defna was saying something. I wanted to hear what she was saying. Guys.
Oh, it was just from that point of view, not that I necessarily take that perspective, but if you were to say that the whole body is your mind, if you were to cut off like your finger, for instance, you would have phantom limb syndrome. But besides that, most of it would be still concentrated in the brain. So maybe you could say like you would be cutting a small fraction of it off, but just because it's like concentrated in the brain doesn't mean the rest of it doesn't matter. It's just smaller amounts.
When I'm saying it's like the whole body, I mean that in order for the brain to like produce the mind, it has to integrate.
Wait, how does the brain produce the body? You said the mind is equal to the body. How does the brain produce the body?
It has to receive and integrate all of the sense
data. Dude, you've already contradicted what you just said. You said the mind is identical to the body. How is the brain producing the body?
I'm explaining how it's identical to the body.
No, because you just said the brain produces the mind. And then, but you also said,
in order for the brain to produce the mind, it has to receive and integrate all of the sense data from the rest of the body. That's what I mean.
No, but you said.
Okay, so I'm further explaining myself.
No, but now the mind is a product of the brain, and it's not identical to the brain anymore. How can something be a product of something and yet identical to that thing? Doesn't make any sense.
Who said identical in the first place?
No, this is just he just doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't want to be mean, but it's like it's just not. It doesn't make any sense, dude. Like you
anyway. So my point is,
and then it'd be identical to it. So you either have to retract the thing you just said that the mind is identical to the body, or you have to say that the body produces the mind, which is a totally different statement. So are you changing your view on the mind now?
I'm not changing my view on the mind. If you want to say that my language was imprecise earlier, then sure, maybe it was. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So can we move on from that?
I'm ready for anything.
Good. So so if the mind is like as I've described it, then what I would say is that since it is physical, and I would say that things like logic and truth are held in our minds.
No, wait. No,
understood by our minds and not by anything else. They are material.
No, we got a new problem now. So now, do you still hold to, because you've already changed your view once. So are you still holding to that the mind is material?
Yes.
Okay. How does the brain produce something material? Does the brain like shit out our mind?
It's just it's like it's an emergent property of the brain.
No, wait. Is it again, dude? How does a brain produce something material? Unless it's identical to the brain, now the brain no longer produces it. It just is the brain.
It's like it's the holistic integration of all of the like synapse firing in our brain.
So which synapse firing is the mind? All of them?
All of it. The holistic
Okay, so the
integration
mind
of the
is
whole
the
thing.
brain. The brain doesn't produce the mind. The mind is the brain now. Yeah, dude, like, please, KO, man. I could do this all night, man.
I don't get what you're not getting.
You said the mind is material, and you said the brain produces the mind. I'm asking you how the mind produces a material thing. And by the way, how does the mind produce something material, dude?
Because it is material. Like, so
can
everything
you hold
it does
it?
is
Can
material.
you hold it in your hand?
Everything it does is material. Just because you can't hold it in your hand doesn't
What does
mean
the
that
mind
it's not
do that's material, KO? What does the mind do that's material?
Everything.
The neurons
that it
firing are
does is
material.
Everything it does is material.
This is not. He's just not. It's not. Dude,
Well,
I
wait,
don't know how to
when we
else to
say
describe
when we
this,
say the
dude.
mind, Dave, are just to clarify from my understanding, like, are you like you're separating like the mind and the brain? Are you talking about like what do you mean by mind? Like, I feel like maybe that might
like
some clarity.
the experience that we all have of like
consciousness,
being, you know, like
consciousness,
consciousness, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so
And
consciousness
what's wrong
is
with saying
material.
that's so he's
Yes,
saying
of
he's
course.
saying that the mind or consciousness is I think is
It's an emergent property.
No,
an emergent
I
of
need to
material
know-
things.
of-
What's wrong
I
with that?
need to know if the brain is
the brain body
producing.
system.
If the brain is producing something material, and you're calling that a mind, like, can you show it to me?
So are you saying thoughts don't exist?
No,
Me?
I'm saying thoughts. I'm saying
It
thoughts are
sounds,
material.
Tim, like you're saying thoughts don't
I'm
exist.
saying
No, it doesn't.
no. I'm saying thoughts are
But Rick
material.
already beat you to that shit.
Yeah,
I'm
I've been
saying
saying
thoughts
that
are
for a
material.
long time.
Okay,
Thoughts
so
are-
where
It sounds like
can
he's
you
saying-
point to the thought in the brain? Can you actually
Your
like
memory
just
held
point to
physically in the
synapses
brain.
firing.
Can you
Wait,
look
wait,
at a
don't-
microscope?
Is your memory held physically in the brain?
Don't
No,
brains have secretions?
No, dude, this is
Yeah,
a
brains-
more
only-
fundamental
only some people on this panel
question.
do.
Can you look under a microscope
Two,
and
three
see a
brains.
thought? Can a scientist go under a microscope and say, "Look, there's your thought"?
What about
There's
serotonin?
Our
neurons firing.
our
What about
What about
understanding of
serotonin,
the,
mad guy?
our understning of the brain and the mind is not complete
He
enough
needs
yet to
some.
do that. But I
I like
do
that you
Oh,
called it
okay.
like
So
that, guys.
now
I think that
you're
we
feeling
can
the
get
get mad
mysticism.
over a conversation like this in the first place.
I do
Wait,
think
so
we
if you can't see something, it doesn't
because
exist. I
I'm
can't see
challenging the
God,
very
so-
idea of immaterialism. I'm challenging the very
That's
idea
what
of
I'm saying. I'm
immaterialism.
saying things
That's
are
why- that's why
immaterial,
he-
Def Not.
That's why he doesn't like it.
Okay, so if it's immaterial, it doesn't exist, or
No, what the fuck? I'm saying that immaterial things exist. This is the whole point of my argument.
okay, so what's
He-
wrong with
he-
the mind existing?
I think the
As a
mind does
material
exist.
thing.
I don't think it exists materially. I think it's an immaterial thing.
You know,
He's
the
I don't
arguing it's
see-
material.
If
How
it's
does that relate to
immaterial,
logic
then
existing or not existing? What does it matter if it's material or not? What does it matter
Because
if the mind is material or not?
the-
If
the
how does it
things
relate
out-
to logic.
the things outside of the physical
Boy.
would be considered metaphysical. That would be metaphysical. So the mind
Well,
or thoughts or whatever you want to call it, that is not a physical thing. It's not tangible. You can't pick it up. And
yeah. I mean, metaphysical, to be more specific, is describing how and why things work the way it's like. If meta means within the conversation and you have physics, it's like, okay, we have physics. We describe the way the world is. Metaphysics is describing why. Why is it relating this way? Okay, which is why I was bringing up in the previous conversation that when we're talking about logic and the preconditions for it, it's metalogical. Okay, so Def Not, back to what you're saying.
No, metaphysics isn't the asking why it is. It's just like
Or-
the fully baseline, fundamental first principles of reality.
Sure, it could be. I think that it does imply a either a how or a why statement that isn't necessarily like empirically verified. You know,
I think metaphysics is like
it can, but that's like
Yeah.
not what it's trying to do. Like what it's setting out to. You can add that, like in a lot of like scientific theories, you can
It is
say
first
like why this
principles
is the
of things,
case,
yes.
but it is just like the very basics.
Who's got the
Right, I feel-
mushrooms?
metaphysics is like I feel like that what we call it would be a superset or sorry it's like it's a category under which conversations about why physics is the way it is falls, right? Is that
Yeah.
so just saying that it's a no. No, it's not just about the fundamentals. It is a description, you are right, but it goes beyond the physical experience, which means that if it's going beyond
If the physical beyond the physical
then there is
experience
no
is in
physical
reality.
beyond,
If that's not within reality, metaphysics does not
Okay.
go to that point.
I just want to like kind of why I said that metaphysics is describing why things are. So if we look at the two definitions, Corinth's 100% correct. The branch of metaphysics is the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things. And then we go and we look up what does first principles mean? Fundamental, foundational truths or basic building blocks that cannot be deduced from other propositions or assumptions. But if we are saying that metaphysics is dealing with the building blocks explain why things are the way they are. So it's just to rationalize both of our statements.
Hey, y'all, I have a question.
Like you can go to there. I'm not denying that you can go there, but that's
Am I
like
muted?
more.
No,
No.
I hear you.
than, like,
I hear you, Chris. What's up?
Unfortunately
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I have an important question. First of all, who has the mushrooms? Because I didn't get none, and I'm like way behind. And second of all, why are we having this discussion anyway? Like, what's the point? Like, what's the
Where does it
purpose? of
connect
this
to
topic?
reality?
I have
It-
my
I don't-
degree in
yeah.
philosophy for PS. I like
What?
philosophy. I like this topic.
Corinth
Right,
is
We all
like,
we all got
brought it-
together tonight to confuse you for PS.
What brought
Corinth
this
is like my
topic
nerd guardian
to
angel.
fruition?
When there's ortho bro douchebags trying to run game on me with some philosophy bullshit, Corinth is there like an angel of light. Like, hey, get the fuck back with that shit.
Sure.
Okay,
That was
but
kind of my question.
Sure.
Like, what's the disagreement? Like, where does the
that on a
disagreement lie
t-shirt now.
exactly?
The Corinth
So
angel.
most specifically, where I think the point of contention is that there, when we're talking, like if you I don't know how much of the debate you watch, but we're both comparing our building blocks, right? And we're both saying I have building blocks and I have building blocks. But what I'm saying is that I'm making the argument that the building blocks that are accepted outside of a theistic worldview don't go far enough, and that it's an unjustified assumption to say that these are now the building blocks we cannot question forward. I think there's a deeper foundation to how we have reality as we know it, and I'm presenting an argument for why that is the case that I believe is coherent and justified and sound, and that is the transcendental argument for God.
He's
We can
trying to
go-
bypass faith to get to
So-
heaven.
So
I
When I
think
was a
that the
kid-
disagreement largely is on what if we say like things like logic exists. Is there something other than specifically an immaterial sense, not just as like a property of things like luster would be like a property of a metal or something. Well, like logic goes beyond that. If that is the case, is there some non-theistic accounting that would justify that, or does it have to be then, if that is true, that God would be true?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not saying the jump from just because there are some things that are immaterial. How does that just equate automatically that there
No,
must be a
it's-
God?
So what
There's some
what the argument
misstatements.
so what the argument is saying is that if God is in fact the precondition for logic, then as we see logic, it indicates to God. So the reason for the precondition that I've brought up is that logic is immaterial, conceptual, and universal, which implies that if it's immaterial, it's not found physically within nature, which leads us to it being conceptual, meaning that it is accessed through the mind. However, it would still exist regardless of human minds. So we've necessitated a mind, but not necessarily a human mind, and yet it applies in all places at all times. Universality. So we
Well,
have an
hang on,
immaterial
hang on.
universe. Wait, real quick, let me finish. We have an immaterial universal mind as the prerequisites for this thing to even exist by the nature of how it exists.
So we're
You're saying
trying to
just because it
establish
has to
whether
be
or not God is
accessed via
spiritual. Is
mind?
that what we're doing?
Sorry, just
Wait,
because
I
it has
just
to be
asked two
accessed
questions
via
at once.
mind. Just because it has to be accessed via mind doesn't mean a mind has to exist. It would just mean that it's not being accessed if no mind exists.
Well, again, so what I'm saying is if all humans are gone, as we, if every human on Earth dies and the Earth is just as we see it, and yet logic is still in its full form within nature, as in the law of identity, things are still maintaining identity over time, and the world is still operating within these principles, but yet these things are not found in any material. Again, it's not found under a microscope. It is a conceptual idea that everything seems to work around. You see.
So,
Also, just to be clear, we went over this earlier. Identity over time is not the law of identity. So when you're saying
sorry,
like
sorry,
logic works, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I know that was probably a misspeak. I just want to like be explicit.
It was, and I need to look further into that. But things
still not
things
seeing,
are
therefore God.
maintaining their identity. The law of identity maintains. The laws of logic maintain. There's still truth in the
Yeah,
world.
if it's hard
Some
to
people
think
disagree
it's a
with that,
sleight
by
of
the way.
hand argument. They have to presuppose that minds can exist without brains for
Well,
them
it's
to be
either
able to
that or gonad.
presuppose that concepts are immaterial.
Well, no, I mean, this is what it's presupposing: is you have to ask the question: would even truth still exist if there were no people?
Sure, why not?
I mean, it might
Truth
not
is
like
simply
what
aligning
do we-
with
Yeah,
reality.
Sarah, I'm gonna drop. I
Too retarded.
Yeah, I
No,
would.
no,
yeah,
we-
you guys are so
Don't
far
we,
in the
we
weeds,
need
I'm
normal
like, I'm
people
out.
up here, bro.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry,
I
it was
know,
a
it's pretty
philosophy
high-level
debate grid.
conversation.
We're having a good philosophy night.
I'm sorry. What was that, Ryan?
I said, yeah, we're having a pretty high level
Philosophy.
conversation. I understand.
Well, that's actually something I would like to actually know what Corinth thinks. Do you think truth would still exist absent humans?
Yeah, I think like us analyzing if truth exists would obviously
Okay.
be like requiring a human or be requiring a mind, but I don't think like a proposition being true requires a mind to interpret if that proposition is true,
Well,
or even
so-
like put forward the proposition.
Fred,
is true.
we'll see you later, darling.
Yeah,
appreciate
I've got to
you
go
stopping
anyway.
by.
I just wanted to pop up for a few minutes, and I actually heard some good stuff earlier, but you guys are in the weeds, and I don't feel like catching up. So
fair enough.
see you guys.
Too many gonads.
Fred's
Y'all,
going
I have to
to
admit, I'm the
NASCAR.
dumbest person in the room right now besides
We got-
Flo.
We got metaphysics.
Wow.
Let me finish my reasoning.
Rick is here.
I'm here,
Oh,
man.
I meant
I
Brick.
got
I'm
pissed when I'm
sorry.
listening.
Sorry, Flo.
It's okay.
But this was the class that I argued with the teacher that I'm never going to need to know this fucking shit.
Turns out we do carry
Well,
calculators.
little
in our
did you
pockets
know
everywhere we
you
go.
would be on a Sarah the Raging Tomato panel at 12:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where this would be brought up.
Yeah, I still don't need to know though. Brick, what's up?
Apparently you did. Apparently you
What's
needed it
up?
for right
No,
now.
I'm good. I can change the conversation.
Well, we'll change it back. I want to go back to the. Well, Eli, I guess, just walked away. So
Why is
and
abortion
maybe-
murder?
I don't care. I
Don't
think
start.
I feel like the laws of logic thing
You
about
don't care
them.
about murder?
I don't. I love murder.
What if it was black
I do
people?
care about it. I just love it. With the laws of logic, I feel like I don't know if the laws of logic exist without like human interpretation of them. Like because to go back to what I was saying about the law of identity, like I feel like we're engaging in the law of identity when we give something identity, like when we isolate certain variables and we clarify, okay, we're talking about this thing, like we're describing this object, we're giving it an identity in that process. And I don't know how to say that exists without that.
Yeah,
process.
they're laws that
here's the
incoherent
really quick
language.
summary of it. Here's a really quick
Yeah.
summary, Ryan.
They're derived.
The law of
from-
identity is just saying that any object has the identical list of properties to itself. So
Well, exactly.
without a human, I'm going to use the same example I used on Eli throughout this debate. If we removed every human mind right now, Thanos snaps all of us from existence, every single one of them. Does anything change about this can?
No, but
Yes,
like
I
what I'm
wouldn't
saying
be
is
able
the
to tell you what
identity.
Yeah,
hang on,
that would
the
be
property-
that would be the law of identity. We're equivocating on identity there.
Nobody
If we can
would be able
identify
to
it
break
into a
down every
category,
little
that's-
description of
Nobody,
everything
no
going
one-
on.
no
in
one
this
will be
room.
able to give it that identity. No one will be able to like
Yeah.
describe
Well,
those
so Ryan,
properties.
are you one of
Yeah.
those like if
like
a tree falls in
describing
the
it.
forest, you have to be there to witness it, or it didn't happen, basically?
What I
Why-
missed,
why
Why are
kiddo,
we
like-
trying to describe every little
Describing
thing
it-
that's happening
Describing
right
it
now?
would be the case
Yeah.
that we would need a person for. If we were to like
Real quick, Inquisitive
cognitively
Archivist,
identify-
Inquisitive Archivist on the Radical Coder side. Thank you so much. Says sorry, it's in Canadian money. We forgive you, but get Umbi a Chewy. I will absolutely do that. He's sleeping right now, but I don't want to wake him up again because he'll get
You
whiny.
killed
Thank you
him?
so much.
like Ryan,
Inquisitive
all the
Archivist.
law of identity states nothing about this can is different from this can. Like at any given point in time, if I point to it and it's like that thing is identical to itself.
But
If we say,
Corinth, is
hey,
it making a scientific claim or is it
identify
simply making a claim about language?
I'm just saying none of us
Well,
are.
it might fall
identifying-
if you disappeared, then it might fall, right? But
It's just saying we wouldn't identify it as being true, but it would
Okay.
still obtain as being true because nothing.
well,
about
exactly.
the can
Yes,
changes.
yes. But like that process, when you say we wouldn't identify it, like we are still doing the identity, right? We're saying we're just supposing
No.
there like we are describing its identity
No,
still,
so
like, we are still
you're equivocating
qualifying
on
it.
this thing here. You're doing
Okay,
the
maybe
well,
I am. I don't mean to.
when we're applying the law of identity, it requires a mind. Everyone here is going to agree on this, like almost trivially. If any of us are to like think,
Thank you,
oh,
Virgo.
that's the thing itself in question or whatever, that requires a mind. But the law of identity doesn't have that second order perception part of it. It's literally just talking about the thing in question. This other can now. This other can. This other can is identical to itself. We might not be able to like identify it, but that's a different sense of identity because the can shares the same properties with itself, which is the entire content of it.
But it's not talking about
I
the
guess-
physical laws that keep the atoms in that arrangement, though. It's not talking about a scientific principle
So-
that keeps things themselves. It's a matter of language, though. It's a rule for making
Yeah.
language coherent.
No, but that's exactly
so
what I'm
that's-
bringing up here.
That's a use case of it. When we use it, it can happen in this way. All the law of identity is saying in content is at any given point in time, any given time slice, because it doesn't invoke diachronic identity. The traits of the can are going to be the identical list of traits to themselves. That's
They're
the
not-
entirety of the
They
claim.
All that's fine and
change.
well until everybody disappears and the world doesn't have to render anymore. So
well, no,
Traits-
well,
those
that's,
traits
this
are
is, that's a
just
great
the
point.
Simulation
Is that
going down.
well,
Those traits
humans
only
don't
exist
cause the
as a
world to
byproduct.
render the way it does.
It's a byproduct of definition. All you're doing is defining a thing.
Well, I know, but the thing is, what I'm talking about is that it doesn't change. That
Right.
this order
No,
maintains
we
its
define it
consistency.
differently. If you define it as the can is the can. If you define it as the pull tab is the pull tab. If you define it as the paint on the
I know.
can, the paint is the paint. So
But-
the definition, the identity shifts with the definition of it.
Well,
It's a linguistic product.
The collector says if Thanos snapped his fingers and 100% of every thinking being had the best orgasm, then ceased to exist, did the orgasm happen?
The orgasm did
Hope
not
so.
happen.
It happened, and then it didn't matter anymore.
it was the death
Yeah,
of us.
absolutely happened.
Damn it.
Cause of death, orgasm. I
But mine did. Shout out Tutty Bug.
again, like this is. I'm
We, like,
trying to
slightly
point.
shift what the law of
You can
identity
tell by that
means to
fresh
be
fuck
like
hair.
some interpretation, some usage of the law of identity. But that
I had
is a
one last
distinct
night,
thing
but I
from
keep
the law of
existing for
identity
some reason.
itself.
Oh,
The
God.
content of the law of identity is just the list of traits of a thing are identical to the list of traits of that thing. It's not
Right.
a very like meaningful content. It's not conveying a lot of information there.
But
Is
Right,
this
but it's all,
basically?
it's all a product of the definition of it, right?
Was this basically?
No,
Schrodinger's
so like
cat?
no.
this
the
thing, whether or
definition
not
doesn't
I'm-
produce
I'm trying to
that.
talk to Corinth, Eli.
yeah, so the you don't have to name the thing for the thing to obtain here, right? So like that's the point of using the can analogy. We are all pointing to the can right now. If everyone in the world disappeared, does anything change about the can itself?
no.
The
Or
word
would
can.
it still be identical to the can at that given point in time?
At that point in
Yes,
time, now.
the can
So-
would be.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
if
that's
I
all the
say-
law of
if you
identity
said
is
the
saying.
pull tab, all of a sudden that's changed what you're identifying.
So without
That's
change,
all. But that's all the law of identity is saying is the first part of it.
What's the
not like
product
a
in that can?
incredibly, like meaningful thing.
A
it's not-
is A. That is identity.
Right.
What is
So
what
like,
is the
why
name
that
of
doesn't
the?
need to be
And
Why
even
does it
if
be
it goes
justified?
A
It's
equals
just
A is a
descriptive.
linguistic claim. It's a product of
But it can
language.
never
Oh,
be
well,
B.
Propositional. So we're saying any given proposition is identical to any given proposition. Any
What is it? A
given thing
yoo-hoo?
Which is linguistic in nature.
It doesn't
What-
have to be like linguistic. Like things.
It's
can be
not
propositional that are never-
identical to the linguistic. The
Is
linguistic
that a twisted
part.
T?
Fish swimming in the sea is still a fish, regardless of whether you name it a fish or not.
Shut up, no thoughts.
It's a shish.
Well, that's what I mean by when I say that the laws to me are derived from properties of reality. Like
Yes.
But-
reality will exist
yes.
regardless of whether we're here, but all of
Yes.
these things we're using to describe it will not. All of
Yes,
these
but-
words that we're using will not.
Yes,
But
These
that is
properties
exactly
agree.
the correct distinction to make effigy
And that's
Effigy
what
is
Exactly.
law.
right now.
Yes, and it's actually that property that I'm saying has conceptual components to it, because there is no scientific explanation for why the consistency actually maintains the regularity. This is where the classical foundationalism says, well, it just does. There's nothing further to go forth from this point.
There
It
you
just
go.
does,
There's
and this
no
is-
reason to keep pushing this stuff into the.
No,
Why are
that's-
we talking about this?
Okay,
So
I'm going to explain
It's
to you.
definitionally reality, right? Because if hydrogen
yeah.
could just
Right.
magically turn into
Okay.
helium for no reason, then it wouldn't be a solid reality that built up to where we are.
Exactly. But this is where people are turning. They're literally turning the switch off on their brains after this point and saying we no longer need to think past this. And I'm
Actually,
bringing up
everybody's
an
brain
argument.
was switched off at the beginning, bro.
Probably so. Whatever. Just hear me out, okay? What my argument is proposing is that this order does not have an empirical, material, or any explanatory force other than that's what I mean by it's conceptual. Like you would have to think that this is the case, and then we actually apply that into future. We say we assume it's going to stay this way because we understand how this works and how this order is maintained. This is what I mean by it's conceptual in nature, yet it's not relying on human conception. It has an actual conceptual nature to it because there's no other empirical method by which to say this is what maintains the regularity. So
And there
that's
are
what I mean by it's
And people
conceptual.
have to work out
Shout
all
out
this stuff so
to
that
P Fletch with the big 5 to say hello to the little mater, and Tootie Bug gifting 5 Powder Dusty memberships. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Back
Tootie
to you.
Bug.
Radical Coder said you gotta pass that. All right.
So it's like the
five.
blank
We got one
constant.
earlier.
And people
conceptual.
think that I'm the shameless self-promoter, but look at these people. Go ahead,
The other
Ryan. Do your
like physical
thing.
constants in the
Do your
universe
thing.
that are just in numbers in math to us, are those conceptual as well? Or are those the underpinnings of physical reality?
Numbers. That's another great one to
Planck
use.
constant or any other kind of universal constants that we have discovered in physics.
Yeah, it's the same exact principle applies.
So they're conceptual. They're not actually physical, even though they are an intrinsic part of the physical world.
But they exist. It's not a human construct. Quantity
Distance
is real.
implies the physical world.
It's order.
Well, so again, is 7 coconuts identical to the number 7?
This feels like a Sesame
In a
Street
sense,
episode.
sure.
Mhm.
No.
They do embody the word 7, right?
Well, yeah, but does that
We
mean
have to
they're
impose that.
identical to it? It's the same thing with the language problem, right? The number 7 exists and 7 coconuts exist, but they are not the same thing. And the
It's
quantity
an abstraction, though. Like what we're using, like like we are identifying that there are these things called coconuts, and then we're like saying that we can instantiate like 7 of like they're being instantiated
Yes.
7 times.
Yes,
That
And
we're-
we're counting that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
metaphysics is
right.
abstract.
Right.
Like it's just an abstraction. I don't see why that like needs
7
justification, right?
7 as a quantity, right, which is a property of things in nature, okay, has regularity
What do you
to
mean
it.
it's a property of things in nature? I don't follow that.
It's a property of nature that there can be 7 things, but it's not identical to the things in nature.
I don't know what 7 mean. Like independent of like our minds, I don't know what it would like. I don't know how like there
doesn't
wouldn't
matter.
really be like
Okay,
what
if
the
I had
distinction between
one-
hang on the distinction between like where a coconut ends and where the sand that it's sitting on. That only matters like if there's a mind to like observe and
That's
distinguish
not. That's
between them.
you're thinking about it strictly physical. I'm
You
talking
had me
about the
into that last
immaterial 7. If
What if
you,
I
you
had
might not think
one-
that exists, but
What
I'm
if I
saying
had-
that
What if I had 1 coconut, 1 apple, and 1 pineapple?
You got yourself a pina colada.
Hell
Oh, I'm thirsty.
You do it.
Would that change the
Again-
physical nature of the ulterior motive of the circumvented curriculum?
No, that's what I
low-key
think.
what a
That's
lot of
what
this conversation
you would
sounds
have-
like.
you would have
Like,
a
normal person.
Oblongata.
You would actually have 3 fruits. That's how we would identify those. Those would be 3 in nature, which is 1 single number, but then that would be fruits. 3 separate fruits who are pineapple, coconut, apple. So 3 fruits, which is 3 things, 1 identity.
Okay,
No,
this is
wait,
the
wait.
question.
I
Does
didn't
quantity
specify.
exist?
I meant to tell you, I bought them from the all natural market.
Mhm.
They're all
goodness,
nature.
organic.
Yeah, they're all
They're
organic.
no longer fruits. They
I love it
are
when my food
now
is organic.
cows, and we have to destroy them because they will all fart and destroy the atmosphere.
I don't
want
want
to
to get a
know
brain
where
worm.
this fucking rum is that needs to be added to all of these
True.
fruity beverages because I could fucking use one right now.
About 6.
Check the
I
fridge.
don't care how many coconuts are in there. Just tell me how much rum is, and I'm having a day.
Bullshit. It matters. If there were 7, then that would be a completely different curriculum of the status quo of the whatever the psychology.
Are you
The
just getting
blue
retard
fart.
all over this conversation?
I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck we're talking about this for.
It puts the lime in the coconut.
Yeah, so
It's basically the existence of God.
yeah,
That's
Oh, it's
the
about
argument.
God. Well, let's get to that. God
that's
is
what we're
spiritual.
getting. It's,
So the
it's
reason-
the entailment of the argument.
The reasoning
What's
here
the
What
deal?
is
you're trying to do
that-
is bypass faith to get to God.
well. So the argument, obviously, tag right is for Eli, but then Corinth also has an argument, but it's for gonads. So it's faith either way.
God is gonads?
Well, Corinth's God is
Yeah.
gonads.
I explicitly say this. We are all stuck within the trilemma. We all have to take an unjustified leap. It's about the least amount of unjustified steps we have to take.
Yeah, and I still think that my position, if I concede to that as much, I think that the transcendental argument for God is proposing the least amount of unjustified steps.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before. I prefer the circular reasoning.
Every
personally.
the part about thinking minds
reasoning,
consist of
all
brain.
reasoning in a meta level argument will inevitably be circular because you have to have a
No, you
foundation.
can be
for
foundationalist. You can
Is
have
this a
position
really
like, the
complicated
laws
way
of
of
logic are
saying-
real. We might not be able to justify why or understand why,
when I say
but we can
well,
derive things from that. That's
well, when I say
foundational
circularity,
process.
I'm talking about what I'm going to appeal to. I'm going to appeal to my foundation, my ultimate source in every argument. So there's always going to be an appeal back to something. That's what I mean by all arguments are circular. But if you just say, well, logic exists because logic exists, that's a vicious circle that is not justified. And what I'm saying is classical foundationalism says that's cool. We don't need to justify further than that. What I'm saying is by the nature of how these things exist in the world, there actually is a logical entailment about how it comes to be that can't be ignored.
And experience helps. So being explanatory, especially in that
Experience would be
experience helps.
impossible without these entailments, is what I'm saying.
Is this like a really complicated way to be discussing whether or not God is physical or spiritual?
No. It's about the world that we
Sort of.
live in. It's about the nature of reality, and how could the nature of reality be the way it is? Like, is there a good explanation for it? And basically, like, you look at scientism and empiricism, and there's all these explanations based on like tested theories. But when we get to a certain point, like I said, the logic point, literally the definition of foundationalism says we don't have to go further than this anymore. And yeah, I agree. In my view, God is the thing we don't have to go further than, but there's more justification for that than there is at simply stopping at this regularity and not attempting to explain it further if there is actually a justified explanation for it. Now, if I was to come in and say, well, you can't explain why logic exists, so it's got to be God, and that was my whole argument, I would be being fallacious. But I'm actually putting an explanation and a coherent argument behind why that's the case. And if that logically holds up, then like that needs to be like debunked in a certain way, or we need to actually understand how that's not an appropriate logical entailment.
Well, hang on. So your thing is objects still have properties even when people aren't around? Is that
Yes.
because so
Yes.
therefore God? Explain.
So
the
okay,
connection. It doesn't compute.
All
Again,
of that
so-
is just to communicate it with other people. Like every single thing you're talking about is just broken down farther and farther and farther and farther of nothing but being able to commute with another person. So if you had no reason, like let's say there was only one human on Earth, right? If you're only one person on Earth, then argue whether or not God exists with that one human. You wouldn't need to make it logical. You wouldn't need to
No, even
describe it.
right. Even if there was one human on Earth, like part part of my argument is also saying that we can't even have the conversations we're having right now. Meaningful sentences, meaning behind the sentences.
Right. So what are
is
we
also
doing? Just
important
trying
in
to
this.
convince other people whether they should believe or not believe in God?
Well, no. What I'm saying is that there are things that are that we presuppose, like logic, like truth, like knowledge, and that by doing this presupposition and by accepting that this actually exists and that it's not like fake, it's not a social construct, it's a part of reality, you're also assuming a bunch of other metaphysical things. You're assuming a bunch of other metaphysical entailments that are no longer justified in a worldview absent God. But God within the worldview makes the necessary justifications for all of these entailments.
So would God exist if there was only one human on Earth?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
answered
This
all
is
your
not
questions?
dependent on humans.
You
None
say
of
there's
this
all
is
these necessary
dependent on
entailments. You say there's all these necessary entailments. Can we? What's like the first? Just so I can make sure I'm fully wrapping my head around. Like, what's like the first necessary entailment you're referring to?
So it would be that, like, so whenever we talk about things having conceptual nature, we talk about an observer, somebody that has the like a self, like Descartes' cogito, which I reject, but it's I think therefore I am. Well, this is implying that you have knowledge of the self, and that the self actually exists in order to make these kinds of statements. Well, whenever we talk about regulatory regularities in nature, these principles, in order for them to exist, they do need an observer, yet we can logically determine that they would still exist without us. Like, we don't have superpowers. We're not superimposing the regularity of nature onto reality itself. But
Like
yet
our brains aren't producing flowing streams and deer, right?
we're not
Is that what you're
making...
saying?
If all humans...
So what?
So what I'm getting at is that if this concept, right? This is why when people say, like, okay, the law of identity isn't conceptual. I'm like, well, is it a concept? Yes. Okay. So,
Tool.
well, the language is the tool. I get caught up there, but the regularity, the actual pattern in nature.
Sorry,
When we talk about the atoms doing the things they do to make isn't it vibration, right? Like, if they're vibrating tightly, it's matter, and if it's loosely, it's more like gas. The fact that it does these physics. Right, that it does these things consistently in order to make matter happen, and it's not going to change tomorrow. Like, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden the laws of logic or even the laws of physics are going to betray us and start acting differently. This
I
is
would
not
say it's more of a
empirically...
description, and if
Real
it's more of a
quick, I'll finish
description,
up.
then
Well, real quick, I'll finish up. But we it can't be empirically verified that this is going to continue on this way, but yet we assume it to be a universal process through our conception of this concept that acts within nature. So this implies a conceptuality to nature that necessitates a mind. Go ahead.
these concepts is still more of a description. So just because you fail to describe something doesn't mean it fails to be. So all
Well,
but
but even
logic, all that,
being.
that's just us describing something. Just being
Right.
in general, that goes back to well, what is being? And that's not,
Right.
like nobody knows. Why is there something rather than
Oh,
nothing,
okay.
which is what I said before. So that's
Okay.
we don't know. So if you just assume God to fill in the blanks, that's just saying God because God.
I'm not assuming God to just fill in the blanks. That would be fallacious. I'm presenting an argument for how the way that these things work and operate necessitates the God by the very nature of the thing. Again, being is a great example. How can, this goes into evolution, like how can life come from non-life, but also things being in nature. Being is not something that can be found under a microscope. It's not something that is that can be produced by a human hand strictly. I mean, obviously we have like babies and stuff, but there's not like being as all things in reality hold to being. Things are. And it's asking the question of why things are. This is uniformity, and that uniformity exists conceptually.
Why does that
However,
have to be an answer for why things are? Why can't things just be?
I am saying things just are. Like, well,
Okay,
wait, hold on, real quick. I'm not saying things just are in the foundation. I'm saying we know this. We can know this without immediately. Well, my argument is saying that we get to God if we investigate why things are. Is the more clear way to say it.
It seems like we get to a scientific consensus. We
No,
investigate how things, why things are.
no, Ryan, that's a very important point. Where is science cannot tell us why there's regularity in nature. There's no empirical evidence for this. None. Zero.
Well,
Zip.
I mean, it
Zilch.
depends on what you mean. Like what we can investigate
Zero.
the nature of that, and like we can describe
Zero.
the regular.
Again, if you're describing
Tell
what
you
it is,
it can't tell you why.
regularity.
yeah, yes, you're describing how it is, but not why it is this way.
It can
what
tell
I'm
you
saying.
what it is, but it cannot tell you why. And I have a question: is God
Why-
in logic or is God in physics?
God isn't in these things. These things come out of God from my world.
Okay, so did God make physics or did God make
God
logic?
created the world. Physics exists within the created order.
Yeah, he would
Which
be
one
both.
did God? Which one is God, bro?
He would have created both.
God is outside. Yeah, God created the created order. So the physics that we experience, we're experiencing within the created order.
So is God physics?
No, but God is truth, and God is the essence of truth, which would be then the essence
That's
of all
logic.
things that are logical. Exactly.
Okay, so
we
God
have
is logic,
well, in a way, yeah, He's truth. It's
and God
it's
is not,
ultimate-
and so God is not physics.
No, because what is when you say physics? Are you talking about a
I'm asking:
particular thing?
is God creating physical things, or is God
Yes.
just logical?
Physics is a part of the created order, right? So physics, this is another part of the conceptual nature of all of these immaterial categories that I'm bringing up. When we talk about physics, we're not actually like pointing to a particular thing, like, oh, let me put physics in a box and hand it to you.
But I
That's
thought God
not how
was
it
everything.
God is not identical to everything. He created
But
everything
created
that we know.
everything. So God would be the creator of everything, right?
Yes.
Not every thought.
Well,
Except for
every-
simple ones.
he's the first cause, exemplar cause.
Does God care if you can describe everything that he does?
No, and we no, it's we can't. He doesn't care, and it's not. God gave us a logical and rational intellect. This is another point of the argument.
Did
Is
he
that
expect us to use it to argue whether or not he's in existence?
absolutely.
So we're
100%.
supposed to argue with each other over it, if there's
Yes.
a God or not.
Well, yeah, we're supposed to. We're
Well,
supposed
it's
to
not-
actually.
No, hold on, Eli, if I may. It's not an argument; it's a hope, right? So to describe a hope, right? Well, the thing is, right? So a lot of people
Disagree.
confuse the discussion with argument, which I understand the debate forum, which is a valuable place to have the discussion.
Rick, you would deny that there's an argument
Okay.
of whether or not God exists to people, to different people?
Wait, let me say this really quick. I think that God created logic in these things in order to make himself known to us. It's
Maybe
the
it's so
writing
that we
on the
can
wall.
understand everything because we can describe it to each other and utilize that tool to learn more about it. Maybe.
Well, and what's so interesting is in the Orthodox theology, Christ is called the Logos or the Logi. This is the Greek root of logic, which is the reason, the
Word.
cause, the why things are the way they are in the world, as the second person of the Trinity,
The
the
representation.
the representation of God's thoughts to earth. So that's why our entire worldview is brought into this argument that actually provides the justification, is that like the incarnation, this is getting into a whole other thing that I'll probably open up a whole other debate, but like that God incarnated as man is including himself in that relationship with his creation as the Logos. Like I find that like really.
Does that
it was
mean
really
before
fascinating
the
to me.
incarnation of Christ that it was the case that there was no logic with man?
No, because he's eternally the Logos. It's just his
So it has nothing
incarnation
to
is
do
his
with the
physical. It's
incarnation, right?
well, the incarnation is important for the
It's important in
uh,
theology, but it has nothing to do with the logic aspect of it, right?
Correct. Well, it's. I would say that. I don't want to say it has nothing to do with it. That would be.
I mean, before
way
the
too.
incarnation, it was the case that we still had all.
It
the
has
same
nothing to
module
do with the
things.
created order because he came into the created order. The created order is already here.
The logic exists afterward. So, but
And Gestural comes up with a big 10, says, God is good when Corinth, when Axiom won. And for the record, I put Andy up in my spot, hoping he'll dive right in. I'm going to, because I'm not adding to the conversation, right? So I'm going to remove myself back. But I also have backstage, I've got Duck and Kay and new person Access Rat Blood, who you'll need to cam up for me backstage.
I know Access.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. Kay, Duck, and Access Red Blood, both waiting patiently. I'll just kind of chime in and out. I just feel like you guys are doing great. Okay.
Hey, I'd love to get in here real quick too. So hey, Eli,
Andy.
I think you've been cooking, man, for a while. I agree with a lot. I actually don't agree with what you're bringing up by the Trinity. But listen, what I think would be cool is if the ops on the panel gave any arguments they have for what these immaterial things, logic, numbers, how you would ground them if it wasn't God. I think Eli's done a thorough job explaining why he thinks it's God, and I agree with his argument. It's a great argument.
I mean, one clear case would be things like logic. The law of identity would be very similar to like luster. Insofar, it's a property of a physical thing. The luster traits are identical to a thing. Luster is a thing of like metals. We measure luster all the time, despite the fact that we can't isolate out and point to luster itself.
So the necessary precondition of all things is luster?
It's not the fact that it's like a necessary precondition of all things. It's not the fact that this is a precondition of all things.
I just realized
Logic is
we
an all
got
thing.
rated. I'm
Let's
so
go through.
sorry.
wow,
All right, I
nice.
want Andy up here, but now we had like 77 watching, so it was a slow night. So it was kind of like doing other things while letting them
Damn.
have the conversation.
We
but
really
now-
bored him to death.
We
We
missed
went
all the
from-
nerd shit, right?
77. Oh hell!
Me and
no.
Eli were having a
Oh,
nice
okay.
conversation.
I
They were
wasn't
like,
gonna-
"We want blood." So
you guys were having a good conversation, so I didn't want to end it, right? So I just wanted to let you guys let it. But I was trying to double up on sitting here, not making any money while letting you guys talk, and I was doing other things. So I figured I'd replace myself with Andy. But I want Andy back now, and I can't step away because now we have 1,800 people watching. So now I have to be here. But thank
Wait,
you.
what do I? How
to the
much?
Crucible crew.
How much for Andy? 10.
$10. Boot someone.
Here
You
we
got to
go.
boot someone though. That's the problem.
Oh, that's
Can't
not a
boot
problem
me
at
this
all.
time, motherfucker.
Why do those
I'm
things,
saying.
the things you, like, why do those have to be, I guess,
I want-
justified and or grounded rather? Like, what's the implication? Like, why is that a necessary thing? Like, why does that matter?
Well, because I mean, you're essentially just saying they're brute, and you should justify that, right? You like earlier, you said they just are. Why?
Why should I? Why does that matter?
Kind of like
Like,
asserting
we-
minds
well,
exist
well,
without
well,
a brain.
Well, because we presuppose.
insofar as like metal. What's the justification for luster if we're saying we have to justify some other thing that's an equivalent property in their view?
Well, I mean, I guess in one sense, Ryan, you wouldn't have to, but I think it would be good to, right? Because we certainly are presupposing things like logic or numbers, etc., are valid. We use them to perform science, etc., right? So
Just
I
like
think
we do with
certainly
luster.
just saying they just are. I certainly think that's a philosophically shallow answer. if
I mean,
nothing else.
we
I mean,
do this
they
with
do
luster as well.
work.
so
We
why
use them
does
because they
luster
work.
exist? Mike, why does luster exist?
So I'd have to look up exactly what luster is. But luster, I think of like shiny. What does luster mean?
I'm pretty sure it's like the reflectiveness.
Look,
of,
yeah,
like,
the
metal.
quality of shining. Wow, I can't believe I got that.
Corey,
All
who
right,
do you want
quick, who
to?
goes?
Who do you want to boot? You got the vote.
Fuck you! You can't make me pick this, Eli. Okay.
Yeah,
You always get booted. I figure it's your turn to boot
I can't.
somebody.
I can't pick this. I'm not picking.
What a sweetheart.
All right, Flo,
Eli, you
pick
gotta
one.
Man, get effigy out of here.
Oh,
Damn, rip.
I gotta go for cam down, people.
Well, it wasn't me.
Fuck, but
Andy's
bring effigy
back.
back now.
And
Andy's
back-
cam down too.
I'm only
that's-
jammed
Andy-
down because I'm
Right,
in my
but they're not
pajamas
paying
and
for it.
it's fat.
hold on, this is Andy's bread and butter, right?
Yes.
So that's why I
You
love
can
Andy
cam up
on
for
these.
it.
It's okay. He will.
He
if
does cam up sometimes.
He does, just not tonight. I know he's fine. Thank you, Eli.
So I was just wondering about this neutral monism a little bit, because you have kind of different views on this, like Russell, Ernst Mach. So those are the big ones. I guess William James is another one, but they call them like sensations or pure experience or percepts or events. But it seems like you're arguing that it's an ontological base. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So can I ask why you're arguing it's an ontological base?
Well,
And what do you mean by that?
when I'm saying it's an ontological base, I'm just meaning like this is the most fundamental part of reality in the same sense like of idealists would say like the mind is what matter is derivative from, or like a weak idealist and a weak materialist would say that those two things are like derivative of the other thing.
Well, and then, I guess what I'm wondering is, are you saying reality emerges from this neutral base so that the events, sensations, affections, perceptions that we see are not the neutral base itself, but they're emergent properties?
Yes.
Okay. So if the neutral base isn't mental or physical, then how would it yield the qualitative distinct realities that appear in our affections and perceptions?
Are you asking for mechanistically or no?
No. I'm just like, is it strong emergence? Is it weak emergence? Like mental and physical features just pop out when enough neutral stuff combines? Because then that seems a bit strange to me.
It's dusty.
I believe it's weak emergence. I need to do a little bit more reading up on it.
Okay, but then under weak emergence, it seems like the neutral base always had mental and physical aspects that are latent within it, but then the base isn't really neutral.
Oh, I got it backwards. I'm sorry. It was strong emergence.
Okay, and then on strong emergence, then aren't you just introducing brute novelty? And I'm not saying I have a problem with that,
Yes.
but it just seems like brute novelty is just something unexplained by the base itself, which is fine. You've kind of said, I'm fine with that, right? Like, and I don't necessarily have a problem with brute novelty either. But it does seem to violate the claim that you make that the base is ontologically sufficient. Then it seems like what's actually going on is the unity plot problem is resurfacing, and the neutral base isn't the source of reality. It's the relations between.
Here, I want to be allowed to stay up here for another 15 minutes while you ask the chat the same thing.
Oh, I got kicked.
Yeah, someone saved you though.
Hero,
Yeah,
hold on, because we want to boot Dusty and then leave Andy on. So we gotta,
Dusty for
right now we're at a trade-off for Dusty to effigy.
That means I go back and effigy comes up.
Yes.
If
So
I
unless
may,
somebody wants to save Flo.
if I may, Sarah, I owe penance anyways, and I kind of need to get on out of here. I got to go film some more cops. Last night was extremely successful. And I feel tonight will be too. So maybe to save both of them, I could head on out and
Wait,
say how
Brick.
much
You want to give your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Can I ask Brick a question before he starts dipping out?
You're more than welcome.
Bro, I haven't talked to you, so I didn't know. But, like, do you mind? I know this is off topic for everything else going on, but what happened between you and Todd?
Flo knows. I
don't know. I don't know.
Will you tell me?
But actually, I believe I spoke to Chuck about it. Chuck knows.
I don't
because
know,
I spoke
though.
to him on Flo's panel.
Not paying
Essentially, yeah, I know you don't. Essentially, he got all pissy because I told a sentry at a gate that he was a G.I. Joe loser.
So you just said he was a loser and he fucking...
Yeah, no, and not him, but a sentry at a military installation. I told that guy that he was a G.I. Joe loser. And
so you told another dude that they were a loser, and Todd... Oh, it must have been somebody he wanted to bang.
I mean, yeah, probably. He flipped out. He really flipped out. I mean, he went AP.
It's kind of weird, right?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Trying to tell you.
Well, you know, it's the internet, bro.
Yeah, no, he takes it real life, man. I met him in the real world. He
Todd
is
justify
that
God.
Anyway, I know these folks want to get back into the conversation.
Yeah, I'll talk to you more about it later.
Yeah, man. But yeah, absolutely. If you guys want, I'll probably be live later on Potter's Rights Media. Gonna go out there and film some cops doing some stupid shit because that's typically what they do sometimes, especially in front of me. So
Thank
thank you,
you,
Sarah.
Brick.
Brick.
You're
We
the
love
best.
you.
Be
Thank
careful,
you. Have
no
a wonderful
conspiracies,
evening.
Brick.
Yeah, be
Be safe,
careful
buddy.
out there. Bye bye.
Okay, can I answer Andy now?
What's that?
Yeah, go for it.
Am I good to answer
Yeah.
Andy now?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So I might be confusing orthodoxy with Catholicism to a certain degree here. I know Orthodoxy doesn't hold to strict actus prudence. From the amount that I think that they hold to, it's going to bring up a very similar issue between the two of how does God end up creating the physical world from the purely like non-physicalness of God. How did these things come to be emergent of it? If we're saying it's like soft emergence, it's going to be the same reductio, or hard emergence going to be the same reductio. To the point where I'm happy to bite this because this is true of both of our systems here. I don't think this is like a strong issue because we just need to say we need strict monism otherwise. And I think strict monism has worse issues than any form of like soft monism.
Yeah. So if I can maybe repeat what you're saying. So you're saying the idea that if you hold to strong emergence, that reality just sort of pops up out of existence from the relations of the neutral base is like reality popping out of existence from God, or at least
in
a
the same
physical
sense, like
reality.
we're having a very similar issue in terms of like how does this come to be? How do we get the different kind of thing from this other kind of thing?
Yeah, so I guess what I'm pointing at is if we're thinking about the strong emergence, right? And you say mental and physical features kind of pop out of this neutral base, but that's only when enough neutral stuff combines, and you need these combinatory neutral bases to create these realities that are not the neutral base themselves, but they emerge from the neutral base. So you're introducing a brute novelty that wasn't intrinsic to the neutral base, but
What the fuck are we talking about?
But the creation is
Shut the fuck up, 4PS. I'm listening.
I'm so
but we
confused right now.
but the exemplar cause that Eli brought up would say that the forms of things exist eternally in God's intellect, so that even the created things
God damn it, Gerald.
exist, even the created material things exist in there. So God's not like one agent among others operating within a system. That's so you can't say the neutrality transcends the system, the neutral base does, but you can say a divine being would. Does that?
I mean,
does that
when
make
we're
sense?
saying it's transcendence here, we're saying that this kind of thing exists within God's mind. This is going to be putting a very similar issue of like if we're saying it's just a transcendent form of these things, then that doesn't get us to the emergence problem that's being addressed here either, because we're going beyond the conceptual idea of it and we're getting the actual reality of like material coming from it. Or if we're using soft monistic idealism, we're getting like the emergent material from it. And if we're doing this in like but if we're saying it's the actual like physical thing in his mind there, then this is getting even worse into the issue. So like which one are you saying?
No, what I'm saying is it's not a one-to-one correspondence. You have neutral stuff, right? It is not physical, it's not immaterial, but it's not transcendent over the world, right? It's a neutral stuff. It doesn't have like this divine property to it, correct? It's not.
I mean,
it doesn't have
it gets into what we mean by divine property here, right?
Let's just use aseity as an example.
I'm not.
I
might not be too familiar with that term.
Self-existence. Like, is existence its essence? Because Russell, Ernst Mach, and James Williams are all going to deny that.
What do you mean? What is divine properties?
I'm pretty sure I also deny that, but I'm pretty sure Orthodoxy also denies it. Like it might be
I'm not Orthodox. I don't really care about Orthodoxy.
I mean, I'm talking to an Orthodox person throughout this conversation, though, right? So I'm going to be talking if we're doing a comparison here, which is what the transcendental argument is. We're comparing worldviews. I have to put it all in relation to the Orthodox purview.
You're speaking. I could be wrong. I would, say that Andy's view, he can use his metaphysic, and you would need to engage with his.
Well, I guess okay, so the strong emergence claim, it still violates the claim that the base is ontologically sufficient. So are you saying that the neutral base is ontologically sufficient in itself to create all these perceptions, affections, and things like that? Or are you saying the
no,
base
it's like
plus the
some-
relations to the base.
Yeah, base
bases.
plus relations to the base.
Okay, so if it's the base to relations, doesn't a unity problem resurface? So if you grant, then you're thinking bundle theory, right?
I don't think unity problem resurfaces.
Because
Maybe you
even if you grant emergence, let's say, right, you still need to explain why particular arrangements of these monads give rise to mental or physical whole constituents or events
No
or
idea
whatever
what
you
you're
want to call
talking
them.
about, Andy. What are you talking
So
about?
why do some bundles of monads yield a brain with consciousness while others would yield like a stone? That is left just as a brute fact as well.
Yeah, like
But,
So I'm
why is
just
that
trying to-
question? But
Yeah,
why,
this-
why
this
is that
doesn't
question
seem wrong.
special?
Because
Couldn't
this
isn't
would-
the same sort of question? No, so isn't the same sort of question I can ask? Why do some planets have life? Right? There's a lot of significance to that. Or I can ask, why are some molecules from a supernova, some of the whatever the chemistry from a supernova are gases and others are heavy elements. Like aren't
Can we-
those all the
The
same type
question
of
is-
question?
So what's like a slightly more apt comparison, like just why are some configurations of protons, neutrons, and electrons going to be solid at some temperatures, but other configurations are not solid at those temperatures?
But those are configurations. I'm talking at the neutral base. Once you have configurations, you're either saying that the neutral base gives form to things in the world, like your soda can example implies, or you're saying that they're just bundles, but the bundle theory has a ton of problems. So you're either taking a substratum theory or a bundle theory, and it seems you're waffling between the two throughout the debate. I'm trying to figure out which one it
I don't
is.
think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm giving you like a very
You use
clear
substratum or
example
bundle
of
theory?
when we're talking about knowing why the configurations give some specific permeation or give some specific instantiation of what this thing is. This is going to be something that
An
we can give a
instantiation.
direct example of in the real world, that even if we grant every single theory, we still can't know this. So when we go even farther and abstract it to the point where this is something even more fundamental than these things that we can't actually observe, the lack of being able to give a solid, direct answer of, well, why is it the case that if we have this amount of them here in this relation, we get this specific thing? Saying, I don't know, is an expected answer on this field.
Yeah, I'm not looking for like knowledge claims. I'm just trying to figure out what your claim is, because it seems like you just said when we look at particular instantiations, but that's exemplar cause. That's Christian speak, right? What are you instantiating in particulars?
What
is a
part of that was
particular
Christian speak?
What is a particular instantiating?
I'm giving an
form?
example of like one specific thing, not a category of a thing. What?
I know, but sorry, I'm trying to be as clear as I can. You
I'm
use the
still
word
not sure which part of those Christians speak. What?
because you use the word instantiation.
Yeah, is
I say
instantiation
it's-
now Christian speak?
I say it's Christian speak as a kind of a joke, but I say it's Christian speak because it's a moderate realism or a realism. It's like you instantiate forms, you instantiate something that's universal, and I didn't think you were saying that universals exist.
Are you saying I don't think universals exist? What?
It is the existence of God necessary to justify immaterial categories, and Eli brought up universals. So the point with the unity problem is, why do some bundle okay, so I'm not asking you to answer this, I'm just pointing out it's a tension in emergence. If the answer to why some bundles of monads yield a brain rather than a stone or a tree or a human or whatever, if the answer is because of the relations, then the relations are doing the real explanatory work, not the monads. And that reintroduces something beyond this neutral base. But that
It's not
contradicts
merely the
monads.
relations, it's the relations of the monads. It's both.
Right. But that contradicts monads because it's relations and monads. That's not monism.
No, it's not it's not like Leibniz monism. I'm not saying that. I've explicitly said the opposite. This is a lot closer to like more soft
I don't
monism.
think that's Leibnizian either, but that doesn't
It
matter
highly
really.
is. When you're saying like the relationality can't be a part of this, like that is going very far into this.
Yeah, but when you say it's also because of the relations, relational structures are not the monads themselves. They're configurations, which are bundles of monads.
Yes, and I'm
bundle
not
theory.
saying it's just the relationality itself either. It's both.
Right,
It's
I know,
you can
I
have the
understand.
relationality with something that's not the monad, not
I
the
understand.
end result.
But if you're
That's why
saying
it's
it's
both.
also the relations, you're saying it's bundle theory. And if it's bundle theory, it's not instantiating a form. It's just a bundle of properties.
Jesus Christ, Flo.
Now I got kicked.
Sarah, are we people watching right now?
No, fuck this shit. Hold on.
That's okay. No, it's okay. I gotta go get my daughter anyways. Corinth, I would love to talk more about this. I am fascinated by your theory. I really, really am. I would love
This
to
should
talk
have
more.
been Andy in my spot from the start. I'm humble enough to
Corinth
admit.
has a really interesting
Shoot,
perspective
I think
here.
those dudes just said the exact same
I just-
phrase back and
I just
forth
have
to
so
each
many
other 600 times.
Well, the funny part is the joke's on Flo. Ratbutt is no longer backstage, so tell him to get backstage. He's
I
not
mean, I
backstage.
can leave. I don't
Muted.
understand any of this language.
Doesn't have to be
Like,
public. I
what
just
the
want to
fuck
pick your
did I
brain.
just listen to for half an hour?
Andy, why don't you give us, because you said you're going to go ahead and head out anyways. Why don't you give us your final thoughts?
Oh, I guess I really just came on to ask questions about the neutral monism because I find it kind of interesting. I guess I would have liked to see more talk about exemplar causes and whether or not those can help in this discussion. And I would also like to know whether or not neutral monism is a substratum theory or a bundle theory. I think a substratum theory would work better, but I don't see how you get there without like a form or something for particulars to instantiate.
Is this a normal place to develop that information? Like, do you think you should get the answers to that shit here?
Yeah,
On
on the
YouTube?
tomato panel, it always is. We always
Okay,
have
I
smart
love it.
people up here.
I mean, I'm learning.
I don't know.
Yes, he's giving his closing. Shut your drunk ass
It's
up, boy.
my fault. I'm
Yeah,
so
thank
sorry,
you.
y'all. I literally just heard the same sentence said back like 600 times back and forth. It's my fault. I'm the dumb one here.
That's
no,
right.
okay.
You said it, not me, Buster.
I
have to
just
run
couldn't
anyways,
hold it in
but-
anymore. I started laughing and I forgot to hit the mute button.
No, really good discussion, guys. Thanks for bringing me up.
Thank you, Andy.
Andy.
Have a wonderful evening.
I appreciate the laugh, Andy. Have a good night.
Dreadhorn says, "Say it, Sarah, nerds."
Yeah, well, I just want to talk to you a second. The night I brought her up, you were doing a theology type of debate. I can't remember exactly what show it was, but it's very important that I get that clip. I mean, immensely important. So if you could help me figure out, or if somebody remembers which show and night that was, it's extremely important. And I have nothing to offer as far as the conversation. I'm a Satanist, so devout. I just needed to get this to flow because it's a legal matter.
Satanist
you're
is
muted.
like atheist or like actually like something else? Like what do you mean by that? Because usually it just means a form of atheism.
No, I'm absolutely from the principality of malevolent evil and adversarial contempt.
That's
So you
difficult to
base your
maintain.
worldview in the Bible.
You know,
Could you
the
break down the
subtle nakash.
citrus phosphate fructose curriculum of that belief, though?
Yeah, it's the same as liberating Adam and Eve as the subtle nakash in the Garden of Eden from God's authoritarian, overbearing,
He told you.
dominant laws and demands of worship and subservitude. Fuck that. You know,
But is
fuck
there a
God.
phosphate salt millennium behind that?
Yeah, based on what objective standard? Do you believe that morality is objective?
I think that it's construct based on man's design as to what he
So
determines
is that a
sin
no?
is.
Is that a no? You don't believe it's objective?
It's like he just gave you a fucking answer, Mike.
I'm wondering if that's a no, a yes or a no, right? Well, why
I
are you
don't
upset?
define myself by God's law, okay? God may define himself by evil and his law being that which is not evil, but I don't see that construct. I see God as fallible. I see him as a failure. I see his law as controlling, constrictive. And if you're judged by that, then you're damned already. And the hell with all that.
This goes right back to what we're arguing, the transcendental argument. Okay, so based
So-
on what standard are you judging upon God? Are you saying that you disagree with God, like you have your favorite taste in ice cream?
No, I'm saying that the
So it's
whole
not just
human
your
species
opinion.
should never have been created. I think it was an arrogant and a prideful thing for him to
Yeah,
create
I know.
life.
You keep making those claims. I'm asking you to justify them now.
Oh, here
Like,
we go.
My existence should justify them. Human.
What's your
history and their
epistemic framework
behavior.
for making the claims right against God?
Because if you're going to stand in a position
Rose, read a script.
where
same
you
every
think that somebody created you by intelligent design and put perimeters on you, that they said if you break these perimeters,
This is a non-answer, Axis. This is a non-answer, right? You're making claims against God, right? That God's authoritarian. He's all these terrible things. Okay, I'm asking you, what's your epistemic framework for judging God?
the definition of his law.
Is it just your opinion?
No, it's the definition of his law. His law
Okay,
is
so-
defined by that which is adversarial
You say
to his
condescending
law.
shit. Mike, when you
Yeah.
say
Bro, why didn't
condescending
you
shit
just
like
say
that, when you
yes?
say it's
It's
just
my
your
opinion,
opinion,
just say
well,
it.
actually,
Yeah, so listen, that's actually really important, right? So if we're in a classroom, we're all taking a test and there's no answer key. You can put whatever you want down on your test. That's fine. You can even tell others what you put down. I put this for question 3. But what you don't get to do is pick up someone else's test and grade it, okay? Because there doesn't exist an answer key. So if he wants to come in and start making claims against God, yeah, I'm going to ask
It's defined by his law.
framework.
What's your answer
right?
key?
That's it. His law. I defy his law. I
What a
defy
man.
what he stands for as his law and what he defines as being opposition to his law and the punishment to it. Fuck all that.
So
And I
like,
didn't
what's
come
your
up here
answer
to
key?
debate. I didn't come up here. I just come up here to ask a question about the
And
clip
I was
You
muted
said
earlier.
concerning
Actually,
legal
I'll
matters.
report after I'm done
You
here.
came in and said you represent benevolent evil. That's what you
Yes,
said. Okay, so
absolutely.
yeah, so I have no like sympathy in my heart
You
for
really
crazy
don't
people like that. If
want
you
me to start
represent
speaking.
benevolent evil, dude, you shouldn't even be here. Okay, so I'm
Exactly.
going to question you. You're here to debate.
According to what? According to your
What's your
preferences?
epistemic framework? Yeah, I
According to your
believe in moral
preferences, Mike?
objectivity. I
All
can
right,
make
let me tell you
objective
According to
claims.
your
something.
preferences, Mike?
Let's
Yeah, but you
let's
said there
go
was
down
no
the
answer
street
key.
and start raping innocent women, smashing their children's heads into the
Whoa.
grounds with our Doc Martens. Let's invert the cross. Let's say, fuck God. He don't have any place here, nor do I accept his existence here on this panel. And I damn you all to the pits of hell for even being in association with me. And it's guilt by association. Therefore, you're all blasphemers for even communicating with me because I am the representation of the adversary himself. There you
Did I
go.
just get a stud
Fuck
put on
you.
me?
Well, I'm
Just put a
genuinely
fucking
sorry
spell
you
on
feel
me.
You
that way.
shouldn't push a
I'm
goddamn
genuinely,
Satanist.
I'm genuinely sorry you feel that way, Axis.
Fuck you.
I,
Fuck
okay,
you to
that's,
hell and everything about you.
Why did I just get witch hunted?
Take your
I'm just
Jesus
here.
up your ass along with his
man.
cross, because if I had my way,
Okay, listen,
I'd
that's
have
enough.
jerked his ass off of it.
You're just
so
going to
that you
keep
were all
making claims
damned to
with
hell.
justification. I tried to get you to justify it. You won't do it. Okay, I hear you. You are heard. Okay, and if
There
you
you
would,
go.
play nice. All right,
Now leave me
Corinth,
alone.
I would love to pivot. Corinth, would you mind picking up with what you were talking about regarding luster? Right. So I definitely am interested in hearing more
so
about
if-
how you guys would sort of ground
If
these things
people are
beyond just
defining
brute
logic
facts.
as a property of the physical things, much like luster would be a property of the physical things. It seems very
Anyhow,
silly.
well, if you
Can
would,
you
thank
justify
you.
luster to me? Can you justify why luster is the way it is, how luster is grounded? Can you do all of these things?
Well, to me, what would be more important is to decide whether luster was contingent or necessary. Okay,
Based off your preference.
so if luster is a contingent property, that means it only exists if there's a gem or a surface, right? And then that to shine on, right? But logic, by contrast, is necessary. It's universal, right? It holds whether or
Actually,
not
that's right.
the physical
Mike,
world
that's
would
not right
exist.
because give me one
if
second
they're taking
because that word necessary means something, right? And so if a blind person has a lustrous gemstone, but they don't see it as lustrous, they feel the texture. There's a world that exists where they never know that it's lustrous, right? And so you can say that it's definitely contingent in that sense, but you can also say that it's kind of meaningless to say ask if it's necessary or contingent, because it doesn't actually get to the root of what whatever what it's about. That was my
so
point.
it actually would, though, because we're talking about how you're grounding things like logic, right? So
no, you're talking
I'm
about that. You're talking about that, though.
Yeah, so I was referring to something I was speaking with Corinth, right? And he was bringing up
No.
luster as an
okay.
idea regarding how we're going
this
to
is how
ground these things
you are
without
saying
God.
ground it, and they are not talking about it in the same sense you are. You are giving a
Yeah, because
fundamental.
Mike, I don't think you're
external
capable. I don't think you're capable of philosophically grounding what an object is based on fundamental principles. So that's why I object to your usage of the word grounding. Can I be honest and say that?
Oh, of course you can. So in your worldview, how would you be establishing the preconditions for logic or numbers or things like that? How would you do it?
I don't know how that's relevant either. That's not how I would approach it.
Well, it happens to be that the topic of this debate is that is the existence of God necessary to justify immaterial knowledge?
The topic isn't everything Mike thinks.
You've popped in here looking like a bearded nerd, always coming for me like crazy, dude. What is your problem?
I've never met you before. This is the first time I've met
you. Come in all crazy towards me. I'm probably not that smart. That's all relative.
I don't agree that it is an immaterial thing.
I think you're also rude. I think you're rude and condescending. So that's the argument. So great talk.
Suddenly,
great
I
talk,
understand
Mike.
all the language that's being spoken.
Words.
To be clear, I agree with them. It's not an immaterial thing. It's a property, much like luster is of objects. That the list of traits are identical to themselves.
Okay, so you would agree though that something like luster is still a contingent property. How do you get luster, right? How?
What does this have to do with God?
If it's being, what do you mean by how do you get luster?
So when luster means like to be shining, right? Okay, so you're saying that logic operates in some type
the law
of
identity is to have the list of properties be identical to the list of properties.
Yeah, right. I'm following you, but I'm saying that this is contingent, right? Logic, I don't think
In which
is.
way is the way I'm defining the law of identity, not contingent.
And let me interrupt for just a moment. Tootie said, "All hail the dusty demon." You are a demon, aren't you? And Loden says, with a big 10, says, "You do good work, Sarah. This is a strange little corner of the internet, but I'm glad I found it." And the Gauntlet especially is a cross between the debate space and the panelverse. So if you found your way to this one, well, I don't know how you got here. And Lobster says, "Let Hair State pick a boot and bring up Lord Geo."
Get out of here, face mask.
Oh, Def Not. All right. Wave goodbye. Def
So-
Not.
So maybe what I should ask you then is, do you think that logic is like an emergent property then of just having a mind? Corinth.
I kind of defined it as a property of physical things.
Okay, so
I don't know why you're asking that when it's very clearly going to be a no from the way I previously stated it.
Hey, well, maybe I misunderstood. Again, in my mind, that's how we would make this analogous,
you,
right?
You understand now, right? Property of physical things, much like luster.
Yeah, right.
I want
So
you all to know
logic.
that I used the ingredients label on a cereal box to say words, and people responded to me like I was actually communicating. What the fuck, man?
What kind of cereal were you reading?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
My ninja.
Okay, so
people responded like I was actually talking to them about something. Hey, which college discussion board post is this anyway?
I mean,
this is a college discussion board post, right? For like physics and logic.
No.
Oh, I thought we.
Man, what are you
slipped into-
drinking for, PS? I need
Well,
to
thought
know.
we
I need to
slipped
get
into
me
another
involved in
realm,
that
bro,
shit.
because I thought it was about God or something. Like,
No, I want to know. I want to know the epistemic justification for how you know what the fuck you're drinking tonight, so that I can drink it
epistemic
too.
justification. I love it, man.
Yeah,
I got some
yeah.
phosphate neutral sodium over here.
Fuck yeah! How many shots of phosphate
And some
neutral
high
did you drink?
fructose corn syrup and sugar.
Oh, there you go. Main vein that shit, dude.
If I was
Fucking
drinking
hell.
something, I'd be reading the back of that label right now.
There's no way that you're sober right now, dude. I fucking
100%.
don't
I don't
buy
drink
that.
at all. I don't do drugs and I don't drink.
So then, what gave
Unfortunately.
you the permanent brain damage to where you feel the buzz all the time?
Yes.
What experience in your youth made you this way?
All of them. All
I'm
of
just
them.
fucking with you, dude. Okay.
I know,
Gotcha.
but I love
Everybody
it. I mean,
continue.
no, I'm having like it says it's like a natural high when I hear this shit going on. I come up here with my friends and I hear like people talking labels on cereal boxes. Is fucking cracking me up right now. I literally could not hold back a laugh, and I was too slow to hit the mute button a little while ago.
Corinth.
Can we talk about God or whatever the title is?
And why he has
God
abandoned
sucks.
the Christians here tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, we all got cursed a little while ago. Did you hear that shit?
Hey, you hold on to that. The last time he cursed me, he cursed my
So,
money.
I
did very good.
I got a
tonight.
question.
It's a rare treat
I
to
got a-
run into that kind
I
of
got a
statement.
question.
They're so rare.
I got a question. I kind of want to hear Flo and Eli on this. So I don't think that this is about immaterialism. So if God is this sort of he has immaterial properties, why does it matter if I say God's omniscient, right? Can't I just say God's immaterial and also immoral? And it's like, cool, well, he's immaterial, so that's just as good.
Wait. Can you reframe that question one more time?
Okay, so
I
I'm holding a physical book in my hand. If I was holding the Bible, then I would say that Bible is about God. Okay, I grant you that the Bible is about God, but I don't have to grant you that God is moral or all-knowing, all anything, or even good in the first place. And since that God's
this
immaterial
argument.
from this book, so since God's from a book, why, and not because he's from like a book like a Dinkus, but because he's immaterial, why can't I say that God is immoral? It doesn't make sense to me.
Because why would if God is true and God created you, then that means that he created your subjective standard of morality, and why would he actually be like, you could make a subjective opinion on him and just be wrong.
Yeah.
But why would he actually be like subject to your
Isn't that all
subjective
any of us can
standard
do to
as
make a
creation
subjective opinion?
if he created you? Huh?
Isn't that all any of us can do is make a subjective opinion?
Yes.
Well,
that's what I
not
would say, too.
necessarily, no.
How's that?
Well, unless the argument that
Corinth,
it was that God was the creator of all physical things, because then you would have to start with the beginning of everything.
Hold on, I wanna
Therefore,
hear
it would
Eli
also be the
become
beginning. Hold
libertarian
on.
in defense of
Therefore,
God.
it would also be the beginning of whatever created our means of communications, which turned to logic and all that. So it becomes like we have to be logical to be spiritual, right?
Yeah, I'm saying that you wouldn't know what any of these things are. You wouldn't even have a concept of what good is if
But
the
I do.
truth of
But
the
I do.
Well, I know.
And we have different
Me
concepts of
and
what good
Powdered,
is.
me and Flow State, me and Powder Dusty. A few months back, we talked about like psychopaths in the military and stuff with EOD on the panel and stuff. And so I remember this conversation because it was about morality, right? It was about how good the military is, but it was also about ethics and giving people a fair shot. You know, giving people stuff that they're good at. So I maybe am subjective, but I know what good is.
Well, I know what I'm saying is that if God didn't exist, then I would agree with you and Dusty that all we have left is to rely on our own subjective experience. But if God does exist, and everything that you know to be good in the world, and if there's any truth to the term good, is grounded in him, then your subjective opinion doesn't matter to the objective truth of what is good.
But all any of us can do.
Where'd Corinth go, by the way? Did he drop off?
Objective
Yeah,
being.
He evolved into me.
All
Oh,
any of us
okay,
can
okay.
do is
No closing.
individuals
Thanks,
is
Corinth.
speak on our subjective interpretation of it. Do you agree?
Say that again.
All any of us can do, since we're all finite subjective beings, is speak on our finite subjective opinion of it.
We can. So I can have
This is
all
what
the
got
opinion.
Lucifer cast out of heaven. Be careful.
Well, yeah, precisely. So God gives us the choice to make whatever decision about the world we want, but we can also make the choice to be in submission to Him and into His to how He is ontologically.
Well, you're
And if we-
already running into a huge foundational issue with your
Oh,
whole
do
premise.
really?
You
Let me
really
hear
are.
my huge foundational issue for PS.
You are, because you're calling that you're saying God is a him, which is physical,
Oh.
which is a man, and you can define it. So
Am I a sexist pig? Am I a
which came
sexist
first,
pig because
the
I do
chicken or
that?
the egg?
No. I need to know.
Might
Am I
be,
a
but that's
sexist
not- maybe
pig
that's
because I
probably
do
not
that?
why.
4PS. Am I sexist pig because of that?
I don't get how there was
Damn
sex
shark.
involved unless your brain was in there and I didn't know it.
Oh, okay. So you're not making that argument. So you're asking why is it a him?
No, I'm just saying if you're given the title to a god, which is a deity, right, an
Yes.
entity, then you're saying him, which is a human, is a thing
No,
that we
that's
can
if
describe
God
with
has a dick.
science.
No,
It's a
why-
thing we can describe
You're
with science
assuming-
and break down
you're
all
the
the
one with the-
molecules.
Dude, you're the one with the foundational problem because you're applying something from the created order to the creator. Why would he be dictated by his own creation?
It says he. So is
We have, but why would you wait until
I know.
later?
So when he made Adam and he called him a he made him after his own image. You see,
why would you wait for later in
God, that's
development to title this thing?
Does that mean
What?
that he didn't make women in his own image?
he made women in his own image, but the women came from the rib of Adam. So
I thought
we
he
have
made
now a second
everything.
category.
I thought he made everything.
He did make everything.
Okay, so he had to be the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Of all. So
Yeah.
it's not a he because him came after the creation of whatever the beginning was.
What? So
Yeah,
if
way
he
after.
named man after himself, like if you call this
He
is
couldn't
this
be
is
a
what your
man.
argument-
Man came
this is what
after
your
the
argument is
beginning.
like. This is what your argument is like for PS. It's like if my name is Eli and I name my son Eli Jr., then I could never possibly be Eli because my son's name is Eli. That's what you're saying.
Okay, Eli is a person's name. You said him, which is a thing,
Yeah, no, that's a title.
It's a pronoun.
describing a
Specifically.
thing, a human being, male
Yeah,
human being,
he's-
actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So why isn't there a title for the very first whatever there was?
That
It's
isn't
God.
that title. Yeah, God.
It's God, and yeah, his pronouns are he.
Then why are you calling him he? Because he came
Because
after.
those are his pronouns.
Why doesn't he have his own pronoun for the only one thing that
Sarah.
existed?
Well, so if my son's name is Eli Jr., why don't I have my own name? Because my son's name's Eli.
So you're saying all he's are God?
Hey,
then,
Sarah.
all hymns.
No.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, thanks for having me on your panel. I'd just like to chime in. I've been up here about 5 minutes. I haven't had to get a chance to get a word in yet.
Welcome.
Get a word in, Lord Geotron.
My handle, if you guys see that, says to simplify. We're using a whole lot of doctorate and master degree level language on this panel, discussing a topic that's so simple. I've heard the question asked a few times of if God never existed. And here's the truth to all those questions. Well, then to that particular question, if God never existed, we wouldn't be here. There would be no good and bad. There would be no us or them. There would be no up or down, forward or back, right or wrong. There would be nothing if God never existed. That's the first thing. Let's just keep this simple.
All the assertion.
Second thing,
Yeah.
man is created in the image. Man is created in the image of God, and God is a he. And the way you know this is you can extract the X and the Y chromosome from a man's DNA, and you can come up with the female gender, which God took
Okay, so that means that the X and Y chromosome was
the
the
rib
very
from the man's
first thing.
rib cage and made a woman. That being said, it's not so much that the it's not so much that the he, she, or the pronoun came after the created. What happened is because of man's own failure and because of man's own disobedience to the one being in creation, the one being in existence, which is the creator, to set standards on his creation, to set laws for his creation, and as the highest arbiter of right and wrong, good and bad, and the only being in existence who is actually righteous and being jealous and exacting exclusive devotion from his creation, he has the right to set a limit and a standard on his creation. Also, he has the right to punish those creations for disobedience. Now, with that being said, God isn't the failure. We are. That's why we die. That's why we kill each other over the resources of this earth. That's why we die from diseases that originate on this planet. Also,
Is there
we
an
can't
argument
begin
here
to call
for
ourselves
error?
intelligent
How
when
is it not a manufacturer
we haven't even
error?
colonized. Yeah, there's going to be there's about to be an argument. Here's the argument.
How is
Here's
it
the
not a
argument. You want to hear the
manufactured
argument? The fact that you can
I've had
say
arguments the whole way
is
through. You're
God.
just saying words.
Actually, what he said was
Right.
that the very
Okay,
first thing that ever
I'll get to-
existed was a chromosome. Is that right?
No, and in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So the entire
I thought it was
heavens and
a
the entire,
chromosome, though.
sort of
You
like the
said
Big
that-
Bang, but with order and design. Sort of like the
What do you
Big
say
Bang
Was the
with
Big Bang
order
a
and design.
chromosome or no?
What do
Also,
you say about it?
The Big Bang was highly ordered.
Space-time continuum has to come into existence, but after matter. So
No, well,
the heavens and the earth is relevant in Genesis 1:1, and then after, say again.
Your
Okay,
connection
getting back to the
blurred.
point of is
Yeah,
God's
we're-
existence or is the existence of God necessary? Absolutely, it's necessary because without the existence of God, we're reduced to being nothing more than animals. And I know a lot of you guys like nature. There's nothing wrong with committing murder if we're nothing but animals. Just like lions fight to the death and then kill off all the other lions' cubs. Just like crocodiles fight to the death and kill off other crocodiles. Just like animals throughout the entire animal kingdom fight each other to the death. Just for whatever
Well, it's
they
bad
want.
for those lions.
If
Like,
God
for those
doesn't
lions,
exist,
that's
there
for
is
the
no
crocodiles,
moral right or
Yeah.
wrong or good and bad in us killing each other.
So did God
Bad for
create
the people being
lions?
killed. It's bad for the creatures being killed, right?
We are animals,
The point
but
being,
we are capable
what-
of
what-
reason.
without
so
the without the
There's
existence
nothing
of
wrong
God,
with
without the
murder.
existence of God, and us. I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna say it one more time for the underwater basket weaving degree havers and the social science guys.
I'm a computer
Without the
science guy
existence of
myself.
God,
I'm a
all you are is a
physics
talking animal. All you are is a talking animal who
Assertion.
believes in left-wing feminist ideologies to try to justify your wicked and evil ways.
They could weave you a
That's all I have to
basket
say.
get the
Sarah, thanks for
characters in
having
your
me.
cell phone.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Wait, hang on. I want to jump back to what 4PS said a second ago. If God is immaterial and God is a man, is being a man God's gender or God's sex?
I'm trying
If
to
God-
say that the Big Bang, if you will, didn't start with a damn chromosome.
So is
So
that a
God,
question
God
to
is
me?
not a
Evan G?
man. God
Sure,
is not
yeah, if you want-
anything
if
that
you want to
came
tackle it.
after.
Is
It's
everybody
a
cool
genuine
with just
question.
ignoring everything he said and moving right on past?
Who?
Yeah.
The
That
potato.
guy that just showed up?
He just showed up to
Ask
serve
Agree
me.
with
them.
every single fucking thing that guy said.
Did he say
Every
anything
single
though,
one.
for real?
Yep,
You
every
said
single
you
one.
agree with
Come
it?
at me. I agree with
Yeah,
it.
okay. So
Wholesale.
the thing he said, So he said it wouldn't be wrong for like the lions to kill each other, the crocodiles to kill each other, or us to kill each other. But like what I was asking him, and maybe you can engage with this, wouldn't it still be wrong for the crocodile being killed? Wouldn't it still feel wrong for the lion being killed, for their family being
For
killed?
the
Wouldn't it feel wrong for me to be killed if you tried to kill me?
Do
We killed a cow a
lions and
couple weeks ago and
crocodiles
put it in the
understand
freezer.
right from
I'm
wrong?
asking Eli.
Do lions and crocodiles understand right from wrong?
I'm not saying that they do, but I'm saying they're going to be like,
Yeah.
fuck,
No, so I wouldn't-
stop eating me, stop killing me, right?
They,
Just
if
like I
it's an
would if you
objective
tried to kill
reality
me.
in the universe.
Whoa. Bunch of questions at once. What's going on? One at a time.
It's one question. I would be upset if you tried to kill me. I'm gonna scream. If you try to kill a lion, it's gonna scream. If you try to kill a crocodile, it's gonna scream. Like all the or whatever
You would
the
scream
equivalent
like a
is.
girl.
Right. But what I'm saying is it's within the nature of a lion and a crocodile to do these things. However, it's within our nature to have a moral code to prevent us to do these things. Would you
That's
disagree
true.
with
We
that?
kill each other all the time. We're literally doing. I mean, look what's happening in Gaza right now. We're killing
Okay.
thousands and thousands of people all the time.
Right. So again, in your worldview, as that guy said, no God, we're no different. So I would agree if your premise is right that there's no God, there's zero difference between us and the lions and the crocodile.
Well, I don't
We're
care if
just
there's a difference. I still think it's.
we're just
I don't think
arbitrarily
a difference has to be
speaking
wrong. I don't
noise
need a
out of our
difference.
mouth.
Time.
We're just arbitrarily speaking noise out of our mouths to voice our grievances that have no actual implication on what happens if there's no God.
I killed a plate of spaghetti
how
right before I
reductionists
came
What
on
do you
this
mean no
panel.
implication on, hang on.
by their own
What do you mean no
existence.
implication on things that happen? Like obviously we can make arguments that are convincing to people and they might make them stop doing particular actions. That happens all the time.
No, I
That's-
mean, but yeah. So
The
I mean,
law
you
is-
know, a crocodile might thrash about in a super convincing way, but it's not going to stop the person, the other crocodile from killing them. They might scream, but you know what they don't have is empathy,
Force.
right? That's something that you're really big about is empathy, right? Is that
I don't
is
know
that
that
not
they
something
don't.
that, huh?
I don't know that they don't. I don't know. I'm not,
so
I haven't
do
studied
you
crocodile,
think that the murderous crocodile that's killing the other one feels super bad about it when they
Hold
do
on,
it?
wait.
Not everyone,
I like
not everyone
this.
killing
I
someone
want-
feels bad about it. Like, I mean, again, like I'm a
No,
lot of people
but
seem not feel very bad about what's happening in
you
Gaza
just
right now.
you just implied that you don't know that crocodiles don't feel empathy for each other. So how do you
It's
know
an
that there
agent
hasn't been
crocodile things.
crocodiles that feel super bad about eating other ones or eating deer, or maybe
Well,
the
hang on,
crocodile
we
peeks
can
its
still
head
have-
above the water and says, "That deer's super cute. I don't want to eat that one because it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy in my cold crocodile heart."
Well,
We
does
can
any of
first
still
that
and
have
matter?
empathy without
foremost,
God.
God has chosen Dusty as the chosen one, so none of this matters. Dusty, what say you?
God
You've
bless all of
received a
you.
blessing.
God bless all of you.
Go ahead.
Does that
Does that-
undo the curse
that
that
would
Satan
undo
is?
the curse?
Twist.
Yes.
Crocodiles
I want to
raise and
ask a real
protect their
serious
young.
question for once. Can I?
Just
For the
saying,
dude
you're
with
saying
the hat
something
and the
doesn't have
microphone.
empathy.
Sure.
You know?
Me?
So we're talking like this is a real question this time. I'm not reading a cereal box. So let's say like we're talking about morals or empathy or whatever, right? We're talking about the part of the brain that gives us empathy. Well, I got a question. So like if my dog is trained, his natural reaction to like say a rabbit or a chicken is to eat that fucker, right? But I have taught him to respect me when I say bad dog. And he looks at me and he looks at the chicken and he's like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to do that." Is that empathy?
Nope.
Is that understanding?
It's a type of understanding.
So he was taught some morals,
it's an
right?
No, he wasn't taught morals.
Well, he doesn't attack the chicken anymore.
That's just because he wants treats from you.
I didn't give him a treat.
He's
and attention. He wants to be validated by you. He wants to feel your,
he wants food. He wants food. You're a consistent food source.
But
I think you're understating. I think you're understating the relationship between man and dog. Like I don't know. I don't think it's food's a big part of it. Food's a big part of it. But like,
I mean, he doesn't.
My
he
dog.
doesn't do
My
it.
dog's not. Don't like. I feel like when I'm not around, it's not just because he's like, oh no, where's the food? Like other people could give him food, and he's still gonna be like, oh fuck, where's my dad? You know?
Yeah,
So
I
you
know,
don't
but
think I
there's
could leave-
a
so you don't
training.
think after teaching him, I could leave the dog in the chicken coop while I'm at work?
Again, it's not the reason it's not moral is I'm being kind of like super blunt because I'm like I'm just in like a fuck it kind of mood. But
Come on
let me
with
get a little bit more into it. When we talk about morality, we're talking about the difference between good and evil. When you tell your dog not to do something, I mean, do you discipline your dog in order to not do it? Do you deprive it of a reward? There's just like really brute deterministic mechanisms by which
no. Look, I just tell him no, and if he understands that no is in relation to attacking the chicken, he won't attack the chicken.
So your
and then I
your
can leave him
dog-
in the chicken coop after telling him no enough times. He has a learned behavior between right and wrong.
No, that's not true. He doesn't understand right or wrong. He understands I will get punished if I do this. He has an instinctual
Isn't that
response.
what humans are doing though? Because dude just said
No.
murder's fine.
No.
but we know we'll get punished if we murder. So isn't that what
He
we're
has
doing?
some moral code. He has something we could call
Well,
moral
there-
code. He understands.
there's
he
a
understands
difference
behavior- hang on,
between
he understands
shame and
behaviors
guilt.
we should or shouldn't do.
Hold on,
He's
hold
not-
on. There's too many at once. Too many at once.
who's laying in the middle of the road?
Yeah, Bill,
Coming
it-
from underneath the car.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. My bad.
Okay. Yeah. Quit playing in traffic.
He has no morals for this panel.
or keep playing in traffic. You never know.
No,
You
don't.
never know.
Let's make
Just
this.
because we have morality
it's a-
doesn't mean that God has to exist.
Yeah.
Or just
Your
sorry, just
dogs
because we
don't
have empathy
morals.
doesn't mean that God has to exist. Just because we can do things that are moral or immoral and can recognize morality doesn't mean because God.
Yes, it does, because you can't give a coherent account for why humans are different than animals if by
We
your
don't have
own
to. We are
worldview.
animals. We are animals.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
we are
so
animals.
we're just super special fucking animals then.
Yes, we're
We're
smarter
different. Yes,
animals.
we're
Oh,
fundamentally
okay.
different.
And that's
We-
not special
yeah,
pleading.
Just because
I
we have a
mean,
lot
we're
of
just-
differences doesn't mean because of God. Like
What is special
Yeah, still.
pleading in this context? Like,
So special pleading in the sense that, well, you know, we're all animals, and all animals do is operate off of instinct. But
No.
whenever we do
Animals
it, we have
learn.
this
No,
I
that's-
just
special.
established that.
hold
Animals
up, that's
have.
not the claim.
Oh, you
different
don't think
animals
animals
learn
don't
just at different
operate off of
levels.
instinct?
Of course, they do, but that's not the only thing they
Partially.
operate
We
off.
don't.
So what's the other
Basically-
thing that
that
animals operate
basically
off
they
of?
operate off instinct. We all
No,
do.
what I heard it's not the only
basically.
thing they operate off of. What's the other thing animals operate off of?
Intelligence.
They can process
Memory,
information.
knowledge, reason,
Intelligence.
Learned
the level of
behaviors.
ability of their brain power.
just intelligence.
They've
in
experienced
general.
something and then
No.
they know how to react because they've experienced
inst-
something.
instinct,
so they know how to do
memory.
that in the future.
Same as humans. Humans are
past
animals.
Experience like we.
Okay.
No, but
so-
they still need a capacity for choice, though, right? So would you say that a lion
animals can make
murders a
choices.
gazelle when it kills it? Would you
Exactly.
say it murders it?
I don't.
No.
I don't
No,
care.
No.
because
I
humans
wouldn't. I
possess
wouldn't apply. I wouldn't apply human morality to a. To
Why
a
we're
lion.
all
Also,
animals?
murder's a legal
I thought
term.
we're all the
that-
fucking same. Oh, now
It
we're
depends
different.
on how much you invest on
that
teaching
demonstrates
them.
We're
Eli's
the
point
same.
about special
We're,
pleading.
we're not. It's
Yeah, we're
not,
all made of
we're the
atoms
same
as
in the
well,
sense
you
that
know,
we're all
like-
One at a
animals in
time.
the sense that we're
Different
animals.
One
but,
at a
like,
time.
Always
Wow.
reductionist to fucking justify
Yeah.
their own existence.
No,
No, this-
listen.
we're the
If they
same.
truly were the same, then when a lion kills the gazelle, it's murder in the same way that a human.
Hey,
kills
I'm
a
made of
human.
atoms and so is a
the
star. Am I the
opposite.
same thing as a
Metaphysic Mike, you're
star?
correct. Metaphysic Mike, you're correct. It's either the lion is murdering the gazelle, or when humans kill anybody for any reason, it's not really murder. Murder is just,
It's a word.
we
No.
put in that we.
Or
doesn't really
hang on,
mean
like,
anything.
look, I sat back for a second. Or we can decide that
That's a false
humans
dichotomy.
we've gotten together and we've agreed on certain moral codes. Lions don't do this, but if we got together and,
why
and
not?
agreed to stop, they just don't have the capacity to, which is fine.
Why
Like-
not?
Like, what do you mean? Why not? Like
Why
our brains are
not?
just our brains are different. Like our brains allow us to do those things. Just 'cause,
Why are
like,
our brains different?
we've evolved in
We
a different
evolved
way?
in a
Like
different
we've
Okay. Okay. So,
What do you mean,
so
why?
you think that? So you have to say by your worldview that one day in the evolutionary process, lions are going to evolve to
No, I
have
don't.
countries
no,
and
that's not
nuclear
necessary.
wars.
That's not necessary at all.
No.
That, there's
Hold
no
on,
reason
wait,
to do
wait.
that.
I know a guy who trains
happen?
lions.
Could it
I know a
happen?
guy.
It could happen, but evolution doesn't have a
happen.
evolution doesn't have a
In
necessary
your
endpoint.
worldview, we could have Planet of the Lions sending nuclear
course.
lion
Yeah,
drones
millions
at
of
each
years
other.
from now, yeah, of
years
course,
from
yeah.
now, maybe.
Fucking retarded.
No,
That's
but we can
Why?
have,
Why?
we can
Why?
have
Why?
lions
You're
that
just
have
assuming
learned
that
behavior
theorem. Like
from-
I don't know
One
why.
at a
Why is
An
that
asteroid
worse?
hitting the Earth basically
hey,
turns small
hey,
mammals into us.
hey.
Like, come on.
One at a time. You're hurting my little ears.
I know a guy that trains
not
lions. And I'm
retarded
telling
at
you,
all.
his lions are different than wild lions.
I just
Explain
want
that.
everybody to
Yeah.
know I am being abusive. I'm pissed I didn't do better in debate, so I'm taking it out on everybody. Just want everybody to
I
know.
agree. I agree. That's what's
Yeah.
been happening.
100%. I agree too. You're dealing
I mean,
with
that's
with
fair,
pissed
but
off
Thank you for
daddy
admitting
now.
that.
Yep,
I
100%.
appreciate
Yeah,
that,
I'm
actually.
an honest guy. I don't give a fuck.
And listen, I've been pretty nice. Thanks, Flo, for rating over. Appreciate you joining tonight. Listen, I haven't held you ransom all night. Okay. You guys failed 2 goals and I didn't even get mad. I didn't nag you for it. I didn't complain. But it is 2:00 in the morning and the show has not done well this night. I know it's a hard topic for some. It's a little on the dry end, but the boys here and Defnut are spicing it up for you. Just send some love, because if not, I'm just gonna lose hope and just throw everything away and
Yep.
go home. I love you.
You're already home.
So,
No,
hey,
I'm gonna go home to bed.
Mm.
Sarah, before you leave, will you clear this whole thing up? Is there a damn God or not?
Yes.
There we go. See how easy that was, you all?
There you go.
Well, I'm convinced.
But can Sarah prove the
no
Christian
other
God?
explanation necessary. That's all we need.
No, we have an
solved.
explanation.
I don't
it's
think I
big,
would
fat
be
series
where
of
I'm
assertions.
at. I don't think my life would be the way it is if it weren't for God, and that's just testimonial. But
Base.
No,
Is
now
it
again-
because of God or is it because of your faith in God?
no, God knows exactly what He's doing.
Well, here's the difference, and this is why I was really happy for Andy to come up, because I respect Corinth a lot, because it takes work to know a school of something, right? And the school of philosophy is extremely deep and dense And I really have zero background in it, just kind of a pet hobby of trying to get my best understanding. But the second that you run into something where you need to Google it or whatever, which I have to do all the time, not faulting anybody for that. But even if your argument is correct, if you're not armed with the knowledge of the material that's being brought up, it's going to be really bad optics for you. And I knew that going in, and I gave it my damnedest to learn as much as I could coming in. I still don't think that necessarily, especially when it comes to the prompt, that there was actually a justification given for a naturalistic explanation. Just want to say that first and foremost. I'm conceding out of respect to my opponent's knowledge, and I knew he was knowledgeable, and I enjoy debating people who are smarter than me because it's easy to debate people who aren't. However, I don't know that he satisfied the prompt. But what we're getting into here, whenever Defnot says, without an explanation, my argument is in fact giving an explanation. It's giving a coherent and logical one. And that
I'm not following the logic.
Okay,
can I get my out? Can I say
so we
my
can
out,
get into
Sarah,
that.
so I can leave?
Sure.
Do y'all mind if I do my goodbyes?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to tell all of you all you're very, very smart. I feel extremely dumb being on panel with all of you all. So congratulations. And, keep it up. Keep learning. It's great. I never did learn anything about the topic tonight, but what I can say that I'm grateful for is that you all finally gave me an opportunity to utilize the words on the side of a cereal box. Thank you. Sarah, love you. Everybody have a good night. And yeah, see y'all later.
Love you, 4PS. You're not
I think 4PS
smarter than
is
me.
smart. I'll say.
Love
I
you
think
all,
4PS
man.
is
He's
smart.
smarter than me, for sure. I'm a dumb hillbilly.
Y'all take care.
Bye, Chris. Chris is he does like the first amender kind of stuff. He's got a very large channel and does very well. But he's been an absolute doll. We interact every once in a while. We'll cross paths, and it's usually through flow and drama. So, and those two are one and the same. Here's what I want to do. We're gonna do. Ryan, are you planning to start another stream after this?
I am actually. Yeah, I was gonna. I was actually gonna give a closing statement, then go make some coffee, and then I was probably gonna fire one up. So yeah, that'd be
Are
awesome.
you planning on doing an open panel?
I can. I just got a
Okay.
Restream subscription, so I've got a 10 space back room. I got all the setup now.
Nice, very nice. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Ryan, you go make some coffee and fire up your next stream here very quickly. And as soon as you're up and running, we're gonna shut down, and we're gonna raid on over. Okay, and
All right,
then
do
you
you mind if
guys
I give a quick?
can-
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and you guys will go ahead and raid over. And if you guys want to continue the conversation, I guess maybe you'll entertain that, Ryan.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can talk about God.
Sure. All right, give out your thoughts here, Ryan.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell, I missed the actual full debate, but at least in this open panel, I don't think the claim that God is necessary to justify things like logic, math, morality, I don't think that was ever really demonstrated. I think, in my opinion, in my worldview, logic and math, these things work because they describe successful patterns. We keep and tweak rules that help us think better about things. Either God made the rules, or the rules are just what they are, and God's just noticing them, and God's kind of not needed. In terms of morality, we follow reasons, what's fair, or what we perceive to be fair, what we perceive reduces harm, because, again, those things make sense to us, not just because some external ethereal being said so. And yeah, so I think that secular societies can account for all of these things perfectly well. People might push on the ultimate grounding and say that we need some ethereal grounding for these things. I'm not even sure that that sentiment is coherent. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like the God has been proven. But all love to anyone who believes in God. No disrespect to that. We just have different worldviews, but I will have my own open panel. You can all try to convince me of God or the Christian God or whatever. I'm gonna make some coffee, so I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
See you, Ryan.
Hey, I'll take my exit here too. So